What if the most advanced farming knowledge on earth isn't in a lab, but on a quiet, unplugged farm where horses still pull the plow? Amish communities have grown food on the same land for over 300 years with zero synthetic fertilizers, zero pesticide sprays, and their soil gets richer every single year. If your garden feels like it's working against you, you're following a broken system. Today, I'll show you exactly what the Amish do differently and how you can use it starting this weekend. Here is something nobody in the gardening industry wants you to think about too hard. We have been farming on this earth for roughly 10,000 years, and in the last 100, just the last 100, we have done more damage to the world's topsoil than in all that time combined. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, 90% of Earth's topsoil could be at risk by 2050, and we are losing the equivalent of one soccer pitch of soil every single 5 seconds. For the home gardener, the consequences show up quietly. Your tomatoes taste more like water than they used to. You need more fertilizer every spring just to get the same color in your plants. Pests seem worse each year, not better. Your soil feels hard and compacted, even though you keep adding things to it. Sound familiar? This is what happens when you treat soil as a passive growing medium rather than what it actually is, a living, breathing ecosystem that needs to be fed, not just used. Modern agriculture built itself around one big idea: give plants nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and you can grow crops anywhere indefinitely. For a while, it worked brilliantly, but every time you apply synthetic fertilizer, you are feeding the plant while starving the soil, killing the billions of bacteria and fungi that make land truly productive. You end up needing more every year just to get the same results. It is a trap. And the Amish walk the other way entirely. This is just the beginning. I'd subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next in this video. Most people look at garden soil and see dirt. The Amish see a living farm beneath the farm, a hidden world that, if protected, grows food better than anything a store shelf can offer. Healthy soil contains more individual organisms in a single teaspoon than there are people on Earth. Bacteria converting organic matter into plant-ready nutrients, mycorrhizal fungi extending root reach hundreds of times over, earthworms leaving behind castings so nutrient-rich they are called black gold. This ecosystem does not want synthetic fertilizer. It wants food, decomposing leaves, kitchen scraps, aged manure, wood chips. Feed the soil, and the soil handles everything above it. Here is what most gardeners never realize. Synthetic fertilizer bypasses the entire biological system. The plant gets a quick nitrogen hit and grows fast, but the mycorrhizal fungi stop partnering with roots. Bacteria go quiet. The soil food web collapses slowly, invisibly, season by season. Think of surviving on energy drinks instead of real food. You function for a while, then your system deteriorates until it cannot operate without them. That is exactly what repeated fertilizer use does to your soil. The Amish understood this without a single laboratory. Their entire approach rests on one belief: you do not grow plants, you grow soil, and soil grows the plants for you. So how do the Amish actually feed their soil? It starts with compost, but not the casual pile most gardeners maintain. Amish composting is a system. Every piece of organic waste goes back into the ground, while kitchen scraps, wood ash, straw bedding, fallen leaves, animal manure, nothing leaves as waste. The method is simple: alternate layers of carbon-rich browns like straw and dried leaves with nitrogen-rich greens like fresh manure and kitchen scraps. No turning schedule, no special equipment, just layering and patience. Between seasons, they plant cover crops, clover, winter rye, hairy vetch, across empty beds. These never get harvested. They get cut back into the soil before the next planting. Legumes fix nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. Free fertilizer from thin air. Decomposing roots feed the soil microbiome all off-season long. Here is something most people never expect. Many Amish farmers deliberately leave sections of land completely unplanted for a full season. No crops, no amendments, just the land recovering. Research shows fallow periods dramatically restore mineral balance and biological activity. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is nothing at all. For your own garden, layer kitchen scraps, dried leaves, and aged manure in a simple bin. In 60 to 90 days, you will have something no store-bought bag can match. The Amish approach to pest control is completely backwards from everything modern gardening promotes. Their core principle: if you have a serious pest problem, the pest is not the problem. The ecosystem is out of balance. Healthy, biodiverse gardens police themselves. Thriving populations of ladybugs, lacewings, parasitic wasps, and ground beetles keep pest pressure controlled naturally. The farmer's job is not to spray, it is to invite the right guests. This happens through companion planting. Marigolds alongside tomatoes repel nematodes and whiteflies. Basil near peppers confuses aphids. Nasturtiums at the garden border pull aphids away from your vegetables entirely. Fennel, dill, and yarrow attract predatory insects that hunt the pests you do not want. When populations spike, Amish communities reach for simple homemade solutions. Crushed garlic and cayenne spray devastate soft-bodied insects on contact. Neem oil disrupts the reproductive cycle of over 200 insect species without harming bees. Dish soap and water suffocates aphid colonies within minutes. 2 mistakes to avoid: never spray in midday heat and keep garlic sprays away from flowers during bloom. The real secret, though, is weekly observation. Walking your beds regularly, checking leaf undersides, catching problems early. 5 aphids is nothing. 5,000 is a crisis. Look closely. Problems caught early never become disasters. Modern gardeners water on a schedule. Same day, same duration, every week, whether the soil needs it or not. The Amish water based on what the soil is telling them, and because of how they manage their soil. They often barely need to water at all. 2 techniques make this possible. The first is heavy mulching. Amish gardens are covered with 3 to 4 inches of straw, wood chips, or dried leaves around every plant. This slows moisture evaporation dramatically, regulates soil temperature, suppresses weeds, and breaks down over time to feed the soil biology below. Mulched soil stays moist for days after rain, sometimes a full week, even in summer heat. Unmulched, depleted soil loses that same moisture within hours. The second technique is simple earthwork. Shallow hand-dug swales along the lower edges of garden beds. When rain falls, instead of running off the property, it slows down and soaks directly into the ground where plants need it most. Here is what surprises most people. Soil rich in organic matter holds dramatically more water than compacted, depleted ground, becoming almost drought-resistant over time. For your own garden, mulch heavily around every plant and dig a simple swale along the downhill edge of your bed. Water use drops, plants stop struggling. The biggest difference between Amish farming and modern gardening comes down to one idea. The Amish farm is a closed loop, so nothing leaves as waste, everything cycles back. Chickens are the clearest example. Amish families almost universally keep laying hens, and those birds are not just egg producers, they are working animals. Free-ranging between garden beds in the off-season, they scratch up soil, consume grubs and insect larvae that would otherwise become next year's pest problem, and deposit nitrogen-rich manure exactly where the garden needs it most. 4 hens produce the equivalent of several pounds of quality fertilizer every single week. Goats and cattle play the same role at larger scale. Their composted manure becomes some of the richest soil amendment available. Off-season grazing on cover crops returns organic matter to the soil while naturally controlling weed growth. The result? The farm feeds itself. Fertilizer, pest control, soil amendment, all generated from within the system. Nothing purchased, nothing wasted. For a home gardener, 3 to 4 backyard hens with a simple coop can manage a 400 square foot garden, but saving $200 to $400 annually in purchased inputs. The animals are not separate from the garden, they are the garden. Here is something that separates an Amish farmer from almost every modern gardener. They do not need a soil test kit to know what their soil needs. They read the land. This skill is built over generations, passed down through careful observation. And while it takes time to develop fully, you can start practicing it today with 2 simple tools. The first is earthworms. Healthy soil is full of them. Push a shovel into a 12-inch square patch of your garden bed about 6 inches deep and count. A thriving bed has 10 or more. A depleted bed might have 0. The second tool is weeds, and this surprises almost everyone. Certain weeds are biological indicators of specific soil conditions. Dandelions thrive in compacted, calcium-deficient soil, and their deep taproots are actually breaking up that compaction naturally. Broadleaf plantain signals waterlogged or compacted ground. Wild clover means your soil is low in nitrogen. Chickweed surprisingly prefers rich and fertile soil. If you have plenty of it, your soil is in decent shape. A skilled Amish farmer reads these signals the way a doctor reads symptoms. The weeds are not the problem, they are the diagnosis. Start a simple garden journal, note which weeds appear in which beds, cross-reference with how your plants are performing. Over one season, you will understand your soil better than any kit could ever tell you. Let's put this directly side by side because the contrast is genuinely striking. In soil health over time, Amish traditional methods improve soil quality with every passing season. Chemical-dependent methods deplete it, creating a cycle of escalating inputs just to maintain baseline results. In profitability and input costs, a landmark study funded by the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Program found something remarkable. Amish farms kept an average of 54% of their gross income as cash profit, compared to just 17% for conventional farms. In some years, one Amish farm with 27 cows netted equal profit to a conventional operation running 68 cows. In pest pressure, companion planting, and beneficial insect habitat create a self-regulating ecosystem. Chemical pest control kills indiscriminately, wiping out beneficial insects alongside pests, which makes future outbreaks worse, not better. In flavor and nutrition, multiple independent studies show vegetables grown in biologically rich, organic matter-dense soil carry measurably higher concentrations of vitamins and minerals than those grown in chemically fertilized ground. The taste difference is not imaginary. One note of fairness: industrial agriculture has unquestionably fed billions of people, and that matters. But for the home gardener, where scale is small, results are personal, and soil health is entirely in your hands, the Amish model wins clearly and consistently. There is a philosophy behind all of this that Amish farming communities have carried for generations. The land does not belong to us. We are borrowing it from those who come after, and we are responsible for returning it richer than we found it. That is not just wisdom. That is a standard worth holding ourselves to. If everything in this video feels like a lot to absorb, I want to leave you with one single action that sets everything else in motion. Start a compost pile this weekend. Find a corner of your yard. No bin required. A simple wooden pallet frame works perfectly. Lay down a base of carbon-rich browns, dried leaves, torn cardboard, old straw. Add a layer of nitrogen-rich greens, kitchen scraps, grass clippings, coffee grounds. Repeat those layers. Keep the pile as moist as a wrung-out sponge, then leave it alone. In 60 to 90 days, you will have dark, crumbly finished compost that smells like fresh forest floor. Spread 2 inches across your beds in spring, and you have fed the entire soil ecosystem that feeds your plants all season. Compare that to store-bought compost, often heat pasteurized during production, which kills the very microbial life that makes it valuable, costing $8 to $15 per bag, with a modest garden needing 10 to 15 bags per season. Yours costs nothing, and it is genuinely better. The Amish did not build legendary soil in one season. They built it one layer at a time. You can start the same process this weekend. Let me leave you with 3 things to take away from everything we covered today. 1, your soil is alive. Feed it with organic matter, and it will outperform any fertilizer product on the market. 2, nature already has pest control built in. Companion planting and beneficial insects do the heavy lifting when you give them the right environment. 3, slow down and observe. Your garden tells you exactly what it needs if you learn to listen. If this gave you even one idea worth using, hit subscribe and come back for more. We cover exactly this kind of practical, chemical-free growing knowledge. Which Amish method are you trying first? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this, don't miss our video on the ancient Native American 3 Sisters farming system. The link is right on your screen. Take care of your soil, and your soil will take care of you. See you in the next one.